you want to dominate every room you step into, you start with your mouth. Words are weapons and a weak tongue is a broken blade. You speak like a warrior wielding a goddamn sword. Sharp, precise, relentless. Own every syllable, every pause, every breath, because people can smell fear. When you step on stage, you're not there to ask permission, you're there to fucking conquer. Winning with your speech isn't about fancy words or reading from a script, it's about conviction. Feel every goddamn sentence like it's life or death, because to you, it is. If you doubt yourself for a flicker of a moment, the audience sees it, hears it, smells it, and they'll tear you apart. You project absolute certainty. You lock eyes, you lean in, you make them feel your hunger and desperation to win. I grew up in a world that spat me out and kicked me in the teeth. My father, an Olympic-level fighter, taught me early that pain is just feedback. When the world punched me, I punched back harder. And then I smiled. That brutality forged me into the hardest fucking diamond you've ever seen. Every bruise, every scar became fuel for the fire that burns in my throat when I speak. My first taste of the spotlight came with a camera shoved in my face and the world waiting for me to crumble. They wanted tears, apologies, weakness. Instead, I laughed at them. I stared down the barrel of their questions and answered with the cold steel of confidence. They tried to label me, pigeonhole me, but I bulldozed their categories until there was nothing left but raw truth. Truth is messy, unfiltered, brutal. You think you want the glossy version? Too fucking bad. Glossy is for maggots that need their hand held. You deliver raw truth and you deliver it hard. The moment you stop editing, stop censoring, that's the moment you command respect. People adore authenticity, even if it hurts them to swallow it. They'll resent you, but they'll remember you. When you craft your speech, you don't start with notes, you start with blood. You scribble down every nightmare you faced, every humiliation, every moment you wanted to bury your head in the sand. You dredge up that shit because that's the heat that forges steel. Transform it into words, inject it into your voice, make the audience feel your scars, then show them how you turned pain into power. Forget politics, forget trying not to offend. If you're afraid to piss people off, you might as well stay silent. Averageness thrives in comfort zones. Greatness demands discomfort. You rip through every excuse, every tearful sob story about why you can't, and you replace it with I will. You don't just say I will, you fucking roar it. So the rafters shake and the back row shits themselves. Winning with your speech is a battle. It's a fight from the first word to the last. You open your mouth and you declare war on apathy. You assault every ear, every mind, every soul sitting out there. You give them a choice. Fall in line or get out of the way. And you do it with the clarity and brutality of a swordsman decapitating an idiot. My life story isn't a fairy tale. It's a gladiator saga. From the hustler's streets to international championships, from bankruptcy to empire, I've transformed adversity into authority. You want my blueprint? Here it is. Stare into the abyss, clench your fists, and spit in its face. Use that defiance as ammunition, chamber it in your voice, and fire. When you speak, your body is part of your weapon. Stand tall, shoulders back, chest out. Every inch of you screams dominance. Don't pace like a nervous fool. Anchor yourself like a bastion of inevitability. Plant your feet. Own your space and let your presence crush doubt before it has a chance to blossom. Your tone is everything. A whisper in a hurricane is useless. You need the roar of an avalanche. Project. Fill the silence with the force of your will. And when you need impact, drop the volume. Let silence ring like a guillotine's blade. Pause so long that people sweat, wondering if you died on stage. Then strike again with renewed fury. Words themselves are meaningless without emotion. If you want to win, feel the fucking pulse of every sentence. Anger, passion, hunger, channel it. People don't remember facts, they remember feelings. You want them to feel powerful, scared, exhilarated, awakened. That's how you own their minds long after they leave the room. I've been brokenhearted. I've been hated, hunted, and nearly strangled by my own ambition. I've lost championships, fortunes, allies. Every fall was a lesson. Every loss was an instructor drilling me in the art of survival. If you want to speak like a winner, you must absorb failure like a sponge and squeeze out the knowledge. Your audience craves a villain or a hero. Give them both. Paint yourself as the villain they love to hate. Unapologetic, unbreakable, unstoppable. Then reveal the hero. Forged from that dark heart, relentless, undefeated in spirit, triumphant against impossible odds. They'll cling to every word, desperate to know how you survive. Victory in speech comes from structure, but structure doesn't mean formal. It means purpose. Every line feeds into the next with surgical precision. You hook them with a brutal opener, you drive them through the gut with your core message, then you finish with the knockout blow. No detours, no filler, every word earns its place. If you stumble, recover like a champion. A true winner never lets a slip define the narrative. You crack a joke, you redirect with an insult, you turn the mishap into proof of your dominance. They expect perfection, give them resilience instead. That's worth 10 flawless performances. Confidence is a muscle. You build it through repetition. You rehearse until the words and emotions are inseparable. You rehearse until the tremor in your voice is gone, until every inflection is as natural as breathing. Then you rehearse some more. That's how you turn fear into fuel. Watch the great orators. They command silence like kings. You want that silence. It's your battlefield, your waiting pit. Silence is the vacuum that sucks in attention. Use it. Pause so the room leans forward. Make them bleed curiosity. Then feed them the answer. You must know your enemy, the audience's doubt. You must know their objections before they voice them. You anticipate, you preempt, you annihilate every doubt before it forms. You poison their hesitation with your certainty. And if one pathetic critic dares to raise their hand, you slash them down with your logic and your fury. I wasn't born a titan. I crawled through mud, through betrayal, through media witch hunts. Every smear campaign, every lawsuit, every scandal was a test. I passed them all by refusing to apologize for who I am. That lesson is crucial for any speech. Never apologize for your strength. They want a show pony. Give them a stallion. Energy is contagious. You don't bring a candle to a war, you bring a flamethrower. You ignite the room. You don't ask for attention, you demand it. You don't wait for applause, you conquer it. You breathe fire into their veins. You leave them shaking, alive, desperate for more. You can quote statistics, cite studies, fine, but don't drown them in numbers. Use data as your backup, not your backbone. Let your conviction be the spine that supports every fact. Data without passion is a pile of papers gathering dust. Passion without data is a madman's rant. Marry them, then divorce the bullshit. Your voice isn't just sound waves, it's a force of nature. You shape it with your diaphragm, your chest, your gut. Practice projection until your voice rattles windows. Feel the vibrations in your bones. Let the audience feel it in their chests, in their souls. Then they know this speaker is not a mortal man. When you talk about struggle, own every scar. Don't gloss over the darkness, dive into it. Describe the nights you spent freezing in cheap motels, the bank account at zero, the friends who turned their backs. Then describe how you clawed your way back, how you stole victory from the jaws of defeat. That narrative smolders in the mind. A speech is a journey. You take them from the pit of despair to the summit of triumph. You guide them with your voice, your presence, your energy. At the end, they stand on your shoulders, breathing in the victory you carved out. They leave not just inspired, but transformed. That's winning with speech. Forget comfort. If you bore them, you lose. You must entertain, provoke, challenge. You must make them uncomfortable with their complacency. You must force them to confront their own excuses. That's the only way to spark change, with discomfort, with challenge, with that raw, unfiltered truth. Listen to the beat of your heart when you speak. If you're not racing, you're not alive. Speak like your life depends on every word, because it does. Every speech is a battle for your identity. Every sentence is a stake in the ground proclaiming who you are and who you'll become. If you want to inspire action, you must model action. Don't ask them to do something you haven't done. Show them your scars, your calloused hands, your sweat-stained shirt. Be the living proof that struggle precedes triumph. Then your words carry weight beyond measure. Rhetoric tricks are tools, not crutches. Use metaphors that slice through the bullshit. Use repetition to drive home the point until it's a drumbeat in their skulls. Use contrasts, dark and light, weak and strong, failure and triumph, to paint with vivid strokes, but never let the tools overshadow the raw emotion. Practice under fire. Don't just rehearse in front of mirrors. Rehearse in front of ghosts of past failures. Recreate the pressure, the doubt, the silence of an empty auditorium. Make yourself prove your worth every damn time. That's how you forge steel. Every successful warrior studies his craft. Read the legends of oratory, Demosthenes, Churchill, Malcolm X. Study their cadences, their rhythms, their use of silence. Then strip away the flourishes and build your own raw style. Don't copy, absorb and evolve. Your speech is a mirror. It reflects your identity back at the world. If you stand half-assed, mumbling, you reveal a man half-committed. If you stand upright, roaring, you project a conqueror. You decide what the world sees. Own that responsibility and use it to your advantage. In this world, people respect results more than words, but words can produce results. Your speech must compound into action. You want to move the masses? Challenge them, frustrate them, enrage them, then give them a path to channel that fire into victory. They'll follow you, blade in hand. When you leave the stage, the audience shouldn't just applaud. They should be buzzing, electrified, itching to change something in their miserable lives. They should feel robbed that they don't have another hour with you. That's the hallmark of an epic performance. Life didn't hand me a silver spoon. It handed me a gauntlet of razor blades. I didn't ask for mercy. I learned to dance on the edge. That edge is where greatness lives. That edge is where your speech should live. Leaning forward, razor sharp, daring the world to stand in your way. Composure is a double-edged sword. You need it to channel your aggression, to keep the beast within from turning on you. But you can't smother your fury with it. You balance on that knife's edge. Too much control and you're boring. Too little and you chaotic. Master that balance and you master the room. They'll try to break you. They always do. Critics, naysayers, jealous cunts. They'll swarm you like vultures. But your speech is your fortress. Build it strong with conviction and honesty. No matter how many stones they throw, it will stand unshaken. Your words will protect you like armor. Never speak for applause. Speak to leave a mark. Speak to tattoo your voice on their souls. If you chase applause, you surrender your power. Speak with purpose so powerful that applause is the byproduct, not the goal. That's how legends are made. If you want to crush your competition, study their weaknesses. Know what makes them tremble. Then address those fears in your speech, not with cruelty, but with the promise of liberation. Show your audience the monster under their bed, then hand them the sword to slay it. People love stories more than lectures. Weave anecdotes of hunger, of betrayal, of dizzying triumphs. Let them walk in your shoes. Feel the grit, taste the sweat, sense the adrenaline, then yank them back to reality with a brutally simple lesson. That contrast cements memories. When you speak of winning, you must define winning. Is it money, power, freedom? Screw that. Winning is becoming so strong, so unstoppable that the world bends to your will. Everything else is just a byproduct. Make them see that vision of themselves, a stoppable force, carving reality to their design. Passion without structure is just yelling. Structure without passion is just reading. Combine both with the savagery of your experience and you create a weapon. A weapon that cuts through every excuse, every lie, every ounce of fear. Don't beg for attention, demand it. When the spotlight hits you, it's not a gift. It's your stage to conquer. Walk into it like you own the fucking place. Let every eye lock onto you, every ear strain for your next word. If they resist, break them. You don't apologize for speaking the truth. If that truth bruises them, good. They need bruising. Soft people break easily. Hard people break others. You choose which you'll be. Your words are the hammer. They're the anvil. Every speech is a reflection of the battles you fought. Blood, sweat, tears. They're the ink in your pen. If you've never spilled anything, your words will be hollow. But if you've bled for every lesson, your words will carve canyons in souls. You want the crowd's loyalty? Earn it. Don't just promise them the moon. Show them how you grabbed it, how you wrestled it from oblivion. Lay bare your methods, your mindset, your relentless drills. Teach them that victory is a formula they can replicate. Too many speakers peddle bullshit optimism. They preach rainbows while ignoring the storm. You preach storms and trains the audience to become the storm. You don't sell comfort. You sell empowerment forged in chaos. That's the real goddamn deal. Use body language like a hostage negotiator uses tactics. Intentionally, strategically. Open palms to show dominance, then tight fists to show you're in control. Lean forward to whisper secrets, then step back to roar. Every gesture amplifies your message. If your voice wavers, you lose. Train your breathing like an athlete. Control your diaphragm. Speak from your gut. Let them feel the power in every syllable. You're not just speaking words, you're launching missiles. When you include your life story, don't shy away from the ugly parts. The bankruptcies, the betrayals, the nights you slept on concrete floors. That's the crucible that shaped you. Show them the crucible, and then show them the steel. Your last line is your crowning blow. It's the uppercut that knocks them out. You plant a flag on their psyche and say, this is where change begins. You close with such force that they feel it in their bones. That's how you ensure they carry your words long after the applause dies. Winning with your speech is not optional, it's survival. You want to live as a legend or die as a footnote. The choice is yours, and the weapon is your voice. Wield it with the savagery of a beast and the precision of a surgeon. Now stand up, sharpen your tongue, and go conquer. There's a world waiting to be taken, and it bows to those who speak with unyielding power. Be that force. Be the storm. Be the motherfucking conqueror. And when you step off that stage, you don't just walk, you quake the ground with every footfall, reminding everyone that you were never just another voice in the crowd. You leave behind an echo of your fury, a scar on their complacency that bleeds inspiration and fear in equal measure. You didn't come here for pleasantries or polite applause. You came here to stick a dagger in doubt's heart and twist until it begs for mercy. You project that image off stage too, through every text, every post, every interaction. Because conquest isn't a 90-minute affair, it's a lifestyle. Your audience becomes your army, your critics your fodder, and your own reflection the only opponent you respect. That unbroken chain of dominance is forged in every moment you refuse to bow. You embrace vulnerability not as a weakness, but as a weapon sharper than any sword. You bleed your darkest fears into your words so the audience can taste the poison and still crave it. When you share that moment of pure shit, that time you almost quit because the world was kicking you when you were already down, you transform pain into a magnet. And that raw connection binds them to you like iron shackles. You melt barriers with your honesty, then recast them into chains of loyalty. Authenticity is your cavalry charge. It crashes through skepticism and leaves only believers in its wake. And once they're in your camp, they fight for you without hesitation. Discipline is the muscle behind your voice, the iron behind your steel resolve. You wake before the sun, you train when your body screams for mercy, and you speak when everyone else is still licking their wounds from last night's excuses. That relentlessness bleeds into your speech, charging every syllable with kinetic energy that refuses to be tamed. You don't just tell your audience to hustle, you show them the calloused palms and midnight oil that fuel your own ascent. Your stories of sacrifice become their blueprints for action, pulling them from lazy comfort into calculated war. And when they mimic that ritual, they're not just emulating you, they're enlisting in your crusade. Fear is a beast that lurks beneath every sentence you utter. You don't deny it, you harness it and make it roar. You describe that first shaky breath before you crushed your first opponent, that hollow feeling in your chest when you traded your last dollar for a dream. Then you brandish those memories like a flamethrower, turning fear into the fire that powers your presence. The audience doesn't recoil, they lean in, drawn to the blaze of your survival. You teach them that fear is the raw material of champions. They sculpt with it, they wield it, they wear it like war paint. By the end, they're not terrified, they're empowered, armed with the knowledge that every tremor in their soul can fuel their ascent. Connection isn't about pandering, it's about domination through empathy. You dissect your audience's pain points on stage like a surgeon. Reveal their hidden insecurities, then apply the salve of your solutions with brutal precision. You speak directly to the single mother juggling 2 jobs, to the kid drowning in student debt, to the veteran wrestling with ghosts of battle. You name their demons, you laugh at them, then you kick those demons to the curb with your bare boot. They see themselves in your story, and they see the path you forged to break chains and claim victory. That mirror effect transforms listeners into loyal disciples who will echo your words long after your voice fades. In the digital age, your speech extends beyond the live audience. It floods timelines, dominates algorithms, and ignites social media like a Molotov cocktail. You clip your most incendiary lines into 30-second nukes that detonate in every feed, forcing engagement from trolls and champions alike. You don't just chase virality, you engineer it with controversy as your detonator and substance as the shrapnel that embeds in minds. Every comment thread becomes a battleground where your message propagates through conflict and chaos. You leverage hate comments as endorsements of your impact, then repurpose them as fuel for your next offensive. That ruthless marketing amplifies your speech into a global rallying cry. Controversy is your ally, not your enemy. You court it like a battle-hardened general, knowing that every scandal hones your blade, every backlash sharpens your public image. When they try to cancel you, you cancel their narrative by refusing to kneel, by doubling down on the very truths that ignite their rage. You respond with memes, with podcasts, with live challenges that expose the hypocrisy of your critic. They scramble to catch up while you set the pace of the war on your terms. Each controversy becomes another notch on your belt, proof that you're tearing through the status quo with relentless ferocity. And your followers don't just stick around, they rally behind you like a tidal wave. Rehearsal is your crucible. You don't stumble through your speech. You choreograph every syllable until it slices through hesitation like a razor. You practice in front of empty chairs, in front of mirrors, in front of friends you've payrolled to fire questions at you. You simulate every possible interruption, the heckler, the technical glitch, the voice cracking under pressure, and each time, you nail the recovery. Allowing no crack in your armor, you tighten your grip on the narrative. That preparation breeds a confidence that intoxicates the audience and anesthetizes their skepticism. When opening night arrives, you stride on stage with the certainty of a victor who's already fought that battle 1,000 times. Rhetorical framing is your artillery. You launch metaphors that stick in the mind like barbed wire, you rain down statistics to blast through denial, and you deploy anecdotes that cut through abstraction like a scalpel. You even weaponize silence. Empty seconds that stretch until the audience hangs on your next word like prey caught in the headlights. Your timing is surgical, your cadence a shotgun blast that rattles complacency. You mix raw aggression with calculated precision until your speech is a perfect storm of thought and emotion. That storm doesn't just pass, it leaves a landscape reshaped by your words. Humor, when used judiciously, is a grenade that blows apart resistance. You drop a well-aimed insult at the perfect moment to puncture arrogance, to disarm critics, to forge an instant bond with allies who share your disdain for bullshit. You laugh at your own expense too, but only after you've established dominance. That self-deprecating salvo convinces them you're unbreakable, that you can absorb any blow and return it tenfold. You teach them that laughter and aggression are siblings in the family of victory. When they laugh with you, they're already buying into your worldview.